New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure you saw my petition too. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. You can find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, or in the video description if you're watching me on the tube. Now, the YouTube that is. Now check this out. Yesterday, CNN actually hosted a town hall meeting discussion, you know, basically an unofficial debate, you can say, between the last remaining 10 presidential Democratic candidates for 2020. Now, this was odd because, you know, people have been pushing for a climate debate, more specifically, Governor of Washington, Jay Inslee, who actually dropped out of the presidential race not too long ago. People have been pushing for this, and the Democratic National Committee actually rejected an official debate. So, you know, it's odd that they had an unofficial debate, which ended up being 7 hours long, of the candidates talking about everything from climate plans to fracking, carbon neutrality, the Green New Deal, and all of that. So, you know, it's probably worth checking out. But salute to Jay Inslee, because for me, even bringing this to the forefront, you know, our motto, Green, War, and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So, over in Britain, the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, suffered, what you would say is like 3 losses in like 24 hours. The first one I ain't even report about, but on yesterday, but it happened on Tuesday with conservative party members. He's a conservative or whatever on the right wing and all of that. These party members actually joined the opposition party, preparing to vote against a no Brexit deal, which seems to be what Boris Johnson is pushing for, by even calling for the suspension of Parliament from mid-September to mid-October, knowing that the Brexit deadline is at the end of October, right? So that had him up in arms, and of course, and then as a retaliation, he like suspends those rebel conservatives from the party, right? Bitch assness. But second off, then yesterday they actually voted against a no deal Brexit officially or whatever, so that's like a loss as well. And he had previously threatened snap elections if for those who don't support him, and they voted against that too. So that's 3 losses in 24 hours. Green, War, and Graduation. New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Make sure you sign my petition, man, women, child, all y'all, you know what I mean? Get Donald Trump off Twitter. You'll find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, or in the video description if you're watching me on the YouTube. Now, I've been telling y'all about Prime Minister Boris Johnson out there in Britain, in the United Kingdom, who's seemingly been pushing for a no-deal Brexit, exit for the European Union for Britain, where they are like, you know, and it seemed that way from him trying to like call for a parliamentary suspension for a month, even though the deadline for Brexit is the end of October. You know, conservatives actually opposed him on that, and he, as a result, like had kicked him out of the party and all of that, and they still voted against him, still voted against his threatening snap election and all that. But Tanmanjeet Singh Desi of the Sikh Labour Party, who's actually a parliamentary lawmaker, he actually called him out for being a racist, and said he should apologize for these comments that he made in the newspaper last year, where he said Muslim women who wear hijabs look like letterheads and bank robbers, and Holmes refused to apologize. So all these past dealings have like really lifted Boris Johnson's skirt. I mean, stay woke out there. Green, War, and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. And yo, make sure you sign my petition too. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. You can find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, or in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, Hurricane Dorian devastated the Bahamas. That's already kind of known, especially with Abaco and Grand Bahama Islands or whatever, but most of that shit is underwater. The Prime Minister, Hubert Minnis, actually described this as generational devastation. So it's that real. There have been at least 20 people killed, and you know, I reported 7 yesterday, so you know that number could change still. But the hurricane actually has made its way to the U.S. Is now at a Category 3 as it hits Georgia and the Carolinas. And there were 73,000 people in South Carolina and Georgia that were without power this morning. You also had, Governor Roy Moore of North Carolina is actually warning people to heed any evacuation orders that may be given. And shit could get even worse. So, you know, stay woke. Green, War, and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. And yo, make sure you sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, or in the video description if you're watching on YouTube. This clown Donald Trump doubled down on his false claim that Hurricane Dorian was actually going to hit Alabama, and then he goes on to show an official weather service map, a National Weather Service map, or whatever, like a government forecast of where the storm is supposed to go, and the shit is doctored. Has like it shows the hurricane path, and then it has like a black marker extending out the bubble to include Alabama, and trying to make the claim that it's going to touch Alabama as well. Now keep in mind that it turns out altering official government forecast, weather forecast, is illegal. So they refuse to say who actually altered that shit. But this is fucking goofy, man. Greenwald and Graduation. We'll go to Bishop Brady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Make sure you sign my petition. Get Donald Trump on Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, or in the video description if you're watching on YouTube. Now, the shit that he puts on Twitter, Donald Trump, that is, this actually spills over into like real life and real policies and real attitudes of some government workers, you know, law enforcement, military, public officials, even the FBI. Now, the FBI. Yahoo News is reporting that the FBI is actually targeting U.S. organizations that are protesting against U.S. immigration policy at the border. So, you know, not really a surprise there. They definitely watching us. You know what I mean? If not for that, for definitely other shit, whatever. Because we expose the truth. They don't want that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we still gonna give it to y'all and let y'all know, keep y'all aware. But the FBI Phoenix office specifically has been sending out intelligence memos after monitoring social media groups and seeing what people are posting, whatever, and talking about how these protesters are armed and using lethal force. But all the evidence they presented showed all non-violent activity. So it's all fuck shit. Greenwald and Graduate. For the New World Order, Bishop Brady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Hey yo, shout out to all of the groups that are actually doing humane work at the border zone. Specifically in this story comes in at the Arizona-Mexico border, where these following groups, No More Deaths, or No Más Muertas, Border Angels, and People Helping People, they actually recovered the names of 7 bodies from people who have actually been crossing the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, this is now No More Deaths. They actually reported that they recovered at least 8,000, the remains of 8,000 migrants who crossed the border in these areas since the year 2000. So shit is real over there. But shout out to them that's doing the humanitarian work. Like, this is all about being human. Y'all worried about the wrong fuck shit. We won't grad for the New World Order, Bishop Brady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. So the Financial Times is actually reporting that the U.S. State Department actually attempted to bribe one of the captains, or the captain of the Adrian Daria 1. What the fuck is that? This is an Iranian oil tanker that was actually the point of contention all summer between the United States and Iran and Britain, when Britain actually seized this tanker, thinking that it was transporting oil to Syria, which goes against sanctions against them and, you know, violates like European Union violations, all that shit, right? So the U.S., it turns out the U.S. was trying to bribe this captain to steer the ship into an area so that one of their allies could take it, and that eventually the U.S. could take it. But we know that when it was stored in Gibraltar, the U.S. was not able to get it. Gibraltar just ended up releasing it back to Iran. So keep this in mind as keeping in mind the games that these countries are playing. And U.S. actually imposed more sanctions against Iran and their oil industry, while Iranian President Hassan Rouhani actually lifted all restrictions against the nuclear development and research. Greenwald, the New World Order, Bishop Brady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. So over in Mexico, specifically in Ayotzinapa, Guerrero, at a teacher's college back in 2014, there was a kidnapping and presumed murder of 43 students. That's a lot of people. Now, there was one main suspect that was considered to have ordered the kidnapping as the head of an organized crime unit, Gildardo Lopez Astudillo. He was the main suspect, but they've just acquitted him of any charges because after a judge determined that he had been tortured to obtain evidence. So people are up in arms about this. Keep in mind that international investigators feel that not only was the organized crime unit involved, but also the Mexican military and the police. But the current president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, or AMLO, he's vowed to actually challenge the release. Keep in mind, he opened the Truth and Justice Commission when he first came into office at the top of the year to further investigating this, but they haven't come up with anything yet. Greenwood and Graduation. We'll do the Bishop Grady Lane. Y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure you saw my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, or in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, on some like food, health, and climate shit, you could say that in next year in Denmark, they actually going to ban and be the first country to ban PFAS from food packaging. So this is like called the forever chemical. You know, it's designed to keep these foods like lasting forever, but it's also been linked to cancer, high cholesterol, decreased fertility, and it's also known to be it doesn't break down an environment properly. In the same type of news, Germany actually announced by the end of 2023, which I think is way too long, they're going to ban the chemical glyphosate. For those who don't know, glyphosate is what's been found in the weed killer known as Roundup that's been produced by Monsanto, and it's been getting them sued for hundreds of millions of dollars, and probably will be billions when it's all said and done, because it's been linked to cancer. The World Health Organization actually found that out. So but that ban is late, and it's also known to, like, you know, kill whole insect populations, fucking up the ecosystem. Greenwood and We'll do the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So the Trump administration, the Energy Department specifically, they're actually rolling back legislation that was set in 2007 by Congress that would have saw Americans actually being having to use more energy efficient light bulbs this and next year, which basically says the legislation was designed to phase out halogen light bulbs and incandescent light bulbs and replace them with energy efficient LED and fluorescent light bulbs. But this so there must be like some power play being made behind the scenes, or he must be connected. I would say, when I say he, I'm talking about either somebody in the Energy Department or the Secretary, or Donald Trump himself must be connected with somebody that's still making money off of these light bulbs, because it really makes no sense, even on a business tip, even as far as like the manufacturing of these light bulbs. So, you know, it makes you wonder, maybe he even wants to destroy the earth. Who knows? Greenwood and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So over in Oregon, there's actually somebody who succumbed to a unspecified respiratory illness and died, and back in July. And now people are believing that this was the second death that's related to e-cigarettes. The first one being the one that happened in Illinois this past summer. Now keep in mind that Gretchen Whitman, the Democratic governor for Michigan, they actually made Michigan the first state to ban the sale of e-cigarettes after they accused these e-cigarette companies of like using their flavored cigarettes to essentially sell nicotine to children. And keep in mind also that there are several hundred cases of the unspecified respiratory illness that are happening all throughout the country. This e-cigarette shit, though, as we know, the science shows that this shit is not a healthy alternative. So don't believe the hype, and who knows what they putting in that shit. Seriously. Greenwood and Graduation. We'll go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So federal officials have actually fined YouTube, which is owned by Google, $170 million. This is a record settlement, but if you ask me, it's not enough. The fine was for basically them violating the privacy of children. The Federal Trade Commission and the New York Attorney General actually ruled that they have been collecting the data of children so that they can purposely advertise to them without parental consent. So still a judge has to actually approve of the settlement. If you ask me, not only should it be higher, but we need to know what is going to be put in place so that we know that this target marketing isn't happening towards our kids. Like, maybe it's something targeted that has them knowing about that weird looking skull, crazy looking ring motherfucker that all these kids know about. What is it, Nomi or some shit like that? Or all that Baby Shark shit. All that shit could be like programming. Like, let's think about it, man. Greenwood and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure you sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find us at all link in my Instagram bio, GradyGram716, or in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, back in 2016, y'all remember that dude Brock Turner, the All-American swimmer, top university white boy that actually was found guilty of raping a woman, an intoxicated woman, behind a fucking dumpster, and then only ended up doing 6 months in prison, of which he only did half of that time thanks to Judge Aaron Persky, who actually got recalled in 2018, meaning they like tried to vote him out and all of that, whatever. But nevertheless, this the victim of this rape, Chanel Miller, has finally revealed their name, as she's actually coming out with this memoir called Know My Name, in response to media basically only calling her like unconscious, intoxicated woman. You know what I mean? And you know, she's just some girl that was raped behind the dumpster. So that's what happened, man. Chanel Miller. Shit. It's fucked up world we live in. Greenwald and Graduation.